Alizé,
no.
did you bring an umbrella today? Look at that, Alizé. Okay. Gabe, did you bring an umbrella today?
No.
Absolutely.
Nancy?
I brought a hoodie. That's what I brought.
I put a rain jacket on my dog, so that's I think that kind of somewhere. But I wore a hoodie on today. Just threw the hoodie on over, and then I swapped it out when I got in the office.
Colin and I had lunch, and I said, I'll meet you outside. I saw it was raining. I was like, I'm not going to meet him outside because it was like a black person's text. I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah.
He wasn't pulling up right now. So then I
I
hit
was
him.
in the parking lot though. I was here.
So when we walk out, he's just on the phone, no hood, like just an R&B video, just
I mean,
like.
At least it wasn't Usher. You got it bad, and I'm spinning and.
So now
Dropping
we're
to
like
my
huddled
knees.
up.
Y'all cuddled under an umbrella?
Yeah, we shared an umbrella.
You lucky
We had
you
a
his
walking-
father-in-law,
walking
bro.
in the farmer boys.
You'd have to put a pause on that if you were his father-in-law.
You saying you wouldn't cover Gabe to the parking lot?
Heck no, man. I'd tell him he was.
Oh wait, you did or you didn't? You covered it?
I covered him.
Aww.
That's so
I mean, I was
cute.
still wet from
Were
the
you
walk
gonna
here,
say
but-
romantic?
But like he was like, but he was just like it was normal sunny. He just talking. Yeah, 1:30 is good. Yeah, we could do
Oh,
that.
in the rain.
He just talking in the rain. I'm
But
like,
you know what? I
and you
think
were
the
wearing
thing
this.
is- yeah, just
That's why you look soaking wet right now.
The thing is,
Or as my son would say, it's
Colorado-
soaping wet.
Soap and wet.
Colorado prepared me for that. Wasn't bad though. I could see if it's like coming in.
You
sideways
lived in
and I'm getting
Colorado?
tore- Yeah, I was out there for a couple years. I survived.
Where'd you,
I won't say
so
lived,
y'all
I
went to
survived.
Farmer Boys?
Yeah.
What's the Farmer Boys order?
I got a chicken club.
A chicken club.
Yeah.
Man, I got crazy respect for Farmer Boys. I don't think I could ever clown
Their
anything.
breakfast
after
burritos are so
They make
good.
it all fresh.
And their
pretty
customer
much,
service
you
is
know.
I was
awesome.
this close.
I don't know anything about their customer. I've never had a good customer service day. I've never had a bad customer service day.
Oh, okay. We got checked on like 3 times. We
Yeah.
prayed for our food. Some Mexican dude was like, I
He
love
sat,
that.
He sat
You know?
through the prayer. He was like, I love this, and just walked away.
Yeah.
But he was in
Wow.
He's all in your guys' prayer like that. He nombre patris espiritu sancti. He jumped in. What was your Farmer Boys order? Chicken wings? Chicken tenders?
Why gotta be chicken? You just automatically with the chicken. No, no, it was
Listen,
chicken strip. It
it's
was
most
chicken
black
strips.
guy at the
though.
table. Don't
It
come in.
was chicken strips. It was chicken strips.
He?
though.
Oh my gosh.
I said, Colin, what you feel like eating? He's like, man, I'm craving some chicken strips. What do you think?
See, to me, it had nothing to do with your blackness. It had everything to do with the fact that you're like they said you're a fast food fiend. So it was more so of a
am.
mental
It's an
state
issue.
of like a child.
It's an issue. It's an issue. I
That's
need it
more so
ready.
why I put that order
I can
there.
eat it on the go.
So what's
we're
your
good.
top fast food spot?
It's got to be In and Out.
Oh, yeah. Number
Oh,
one.
you
animal
can't,
style.
you can't name that. You can't
matter
name
what.
In and Out.
She said fast food.
And anywhere in
Have
the
y'all
world.
been in Dave's Hot
Anywhere
Chicken?
in the world.
What about Dave's
I'm
Hot?
going
Oh,
In
in
and
the
Out.
world.
Dave's Hot Chicken's okay.
I'm going In and Out.
It's
Why
so
can't people say
good.
In and Out? Pastor Adam?
Because there's only like there's only like 12 that exist, so it's like of course, and it's In and Out. To me, it's just a
Oh,
a
you're saying
different
it's because it's in
caliber.
this other category.
Yeah,
so
like,
it's already
I don't-
number one.
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect
I'd be like, well,
I
of
gotta have
course,
it.
of course, it's In and Out.
You can't
So
pick
I'm
a
like,
spot that
you know,
Gordon Ramsay backs up. You can't pick.
Right.
You can't pick that
Got
spot.
it.
That's his number one.
So then Chick-fil-A.
Okay, see, I'll allow it.
Chick-fil-A.
I'll allow it.
I mean, you
I'll
like,
allow.
yeah, you like
See, it's
I love
to me
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is good, but I'm still not
do this.
behind the hype of okay,
Don't
it's
do
the
this.
best fast food
You're
in
gonna
the
open.
world.
You're gonna open the
can't-
war zone.
This
What's better than
what,
Chick-fil-A?
Y'all going to bat over Chick-fil-A?
I mean, what's better? What's better?
What's better? In and Out.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah,
we
In
already
and Out's
can't-
one.
Claim In and Out.
We already, yeah.
I feel like
You can't claim somewhere
But
that only is
just-
in one state.
I just don't feel like the hype behind Chick-fil-A is worth like, okay, I'm about to hold it down for Chick-fil-A until, you know what I'm saying?
Why? They're
I'm-
national. Name another national fast food chain that's better.
For me, In and Out.
They're not national.
He's like, I'm still saying it.
I'm riding for you, In and Out. Sponsor me. Do something.
Well, yeah.
Sponsor me. Oh, that's so funny.
So you can't name anyone outside of In and Out?
Nah, that's my people.
Really?
They've
Taco
taken care
Bell?
of me. They've taken good care
Del
of me.
Taco?
Nah,
Yeah, I
me and
could
Taco,
care less.
especially now
Taco
Bell
Bell
is
will
like-
have you messed up.
Yeah,
I can't-
Taco Bell, you better have nowhere else to go.
It's
after
worth
you
the
get
mess
there.
up. Oh, I mean, it's basically 11 p.m. and after fast
Yeah,
food
yeah,
joint
yeah.
for
It's one
sure.
of those
Like Jack in the
situations.
Box.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the two tacos or whatever. from Jack in the
Yeah.
Box.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, since I lost all this weight, I don't really go fast food places anymore.
Okay.
So
Let's go.
you
You got
know,
a different palate.
It's been a long time.
Let's go.
Honestly, yeah. As I'm thinking about, it, I'm like, when was the last time? It's been probably a while. I mean, I've maybe had
it's
Chick-fil-A
been-
somewhere in
yeah.
there, probably In and Out somewhere in there. But when I'm getting Chick-fil-A, I've gotten like that chicken wrap more than I've gotten anything
Okay.
That is
as of
pretty
late.
good.
You know,
That is good.
Yeah. It
before.
smacks.
Yeah. So, man, there we go. We went from ice cream last week. This one's now fast food. So now I'm curious from everyone else, what's the go-to fast food joint? Hit us in the comments. So I figured today we go there. I don't know what your guys' level of knowledge on all these things is, but I figure we have a conversation around it because I've gotten a hold of these Apple Vision Pros.
Hey.
Okay. So
Nice.
this is genuinely, I've had about 5 days that I've messed with this. And for those that maybe don't know, first, everybody, welcome to Be On the Letter. We got Gabe in the house. We got Alize in the house.
Yeah.
We have Nancy. We have Aaron with me co-hosting today. We got Colin in the house, Aaron's son-in-law. Mm-hmm. Wow. Not just like everybody think Aaron always so young, you know, every time we go somewhere.
Man.
All right.
I know he does give 30s.
Look,
Oh,
the
every
last-
time I'm with Aaron and he says, you know, I have an oldest daughter that's, you know, this age or whatever, people are always like, every time I'm with, they're like, how?
Yeah, they
you have a
always
child
ask
at
us,
9?
Is this your brother? And I'm like, nah.
Wow. You must feel great.
I mean, you know.
Look at this. Look at this.
Humility.
All right, everybody. So welcome Beyond the Letter. I thought it would be, we have a conversation around technology, where it's headed with AI and other things. Don't be scared if anyone at the table's like, I don't use AI, because I think that's the point of the conversation.
Okay.
But I genuinely, and for those that don't know, I have a long history in technology, so I've worked with a lot of companies before. And so I've worked with a lot of forward tech, you know, innovations. And this one by far, which I was like, okay, we'll see what happens and stuff like that with the Vision Pros. And I was talking about it maybe 2 years ago when their patents got leaked of what
Okay.
it could potentially do. And I was reading it and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy. And we'll see what happens. And at first, when I first saw the ads for it, I didn't think anything too fancy of it. And then I saw a few key reviews and I'm like, okay, I need to get my hands on a pair. Put these on, and genuinely, in the next 6 to 7 years, probably just like the iPhone again, maybe in the next 10, everyone in America or half of America will own this.
Okay.
100%.
It's
There's
like that.
there's no doubt in my head. Just like in 2007, 2008, when somewhere around then, 2006 maybe, when the iPhone came out, you know, first manipulated touchscreen, had your music player and all that. It was pretty innovative, but it took a long time. I remember not being able to get an iPhone until I was like 22 or something, because they were just that expensive.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where this is at right now. People look at this, look at the price, and conceptually go like, there's no way I would practically buy that and have that in my daily life. Well, that's how if anyone's around long enough and was at the age where technology was a big deal. When that first iPhone came out, you remember when it came out, Colin?
Yeah,
Did you ever have a first iPhone?
No, I wasn't cool.
Yeah,
enough for
it
back
probably
then.
took me 5 years to
Yeah.
be able to get one, because when it first came out, it was probably like $1,000 or $1,100, something like that, maybe $900, somewhere around then, where the average phone at that back then was, I mean, I remember like $120,
If not
$150.
cheaper. That's
Yeah,
when
or
the
cheaper,
little
right?
Nokia.
Yeah,
5190.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
$80, $79.95, and then you have this phone come out, $1,000. And everybody's like, "Oh heck no!" And then I'd see someone with it. I remember tangibly thinking, when I saw someone with a first generation iPhone, I thought they were extremely rich.
Okay.
I remember thinking that was I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that person is so rich," or their parents must be stacked. That was my perception of the first generation iPhone of anyone that had one. And I was probably 17 or 16 years old at that time. And so now fast forward, whatever that is, 15, 16 years later, 17 years later, this comes out. Hands down, I put it on. I'm like,
The VR.
this is going to change. It's not even VR. It's a lot of things, but this is not virtual reality. This is ingrained reality. This is reality for you, because there's cameras that I could put this on right now and I could totally have a conversation with you guys, and I can engage with every aspect with my fingertips and do whatever I need to do. And you know, probably after 30 minutes, you guys wouldn't even pay attention that I had these on. You know, you just wouldn't. At first you would, it would stick out and everything like that.
Yeah.
But even for you putting it on, after about an hour, you forget it's there, and you could go about your entire day genuinely using this. And so when you think about, for those who don't know, I could show the size of it. When you think about at some point, probably in the next, 7 years, this is going to be the size of Aaron's glasses he's wearing right now. It's insane to imagine. So you have, you got the whole thing on right here.
Yeah.
It's got the little face mask. It fell off. So
Did you say how much those cost?
I think they're $3,500. So $3,500. So I think an average VR right now is like maybe $600, $500. So it's subsequently a lot, but technologically it's like a Mac. It's everything a computer has. So you could watch videos. When I put these on and I opened up my computer screen, it said, "Do you want to connect your screen to your computer?" And then it popped my computer screen out of the computer and put it up in the sky, and then let me use whatever. And then I was able to open YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff like that. And so when you think about this right now, and look, when you pull off like the little pieces, you're genuinely just looking at like this little, this little facial piece right here.
Goggles,
It's
yeah.
not, it's like the size of like a
looks like.
snowboarding goggle.
Yeah.
And so I put them, like I've used it now quite a bit to see like where's communication going to go, where is it headed,
Okay.
and it's unreal to think like that my son who's 5, by the time he's 15, he'll have a pair of these that he'll take to school, and either they'll have rules around it or whatever, but he will totally be able to do everything. And it has this AI system. It scans your face, and you can go into FaceTime, and it's in beta, but it basically creates a 3D model of you. And I've messed with it. I've like winked. I've moved my cheek one way or another. It follows the whole thing. It's just.
So this is the same piece that commercial's out right now where the dad's playing with his son, but he has like his business or whatever he's taking care of through these goggles, and he's doing that while he's playing with his son who's on the ground.
Right. I haven't seen that commercial,
Oh,
but
wow.
if that's essentially what it is.
Gotcha.
I could
mega
totally be
multitasking.
aware. Yeah. You'd be a crappy dad if you were playing with your son.
I was looking like he's in the kitchen doing something, but like interacting with his son.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
his screen
yeah.
is
Oh, wow.
amazing.
Now there are genuine times, like for me in my life, where my work is blurred with spending time with my kids too. Sometimes I kind of have to do. Sometimes I'm around them, but I'm technically still having to work. And so if I was at home and I was somehow engaging, like in some ways, you could be more engaging with these on than you could with your phone in your hand, because I can actually have this up on and I could also engage or answer my son's question while seeing him and him seeing me while doing still whatever I was doing,
versus
right?
your back turned or you're tucked away in the corner, that kind of
Yeah, because you could do Zoom with this thing, and it'll create the little AI. And as it gets better and better, it's just going to be insane. So you could technically be on a Zoom call with these, and totally doing everything else, and they wouldn't know. Whereas if I had Zoom, on and the camera's on me, but you still get all of my facial expressions. You still get. Like the way that AI is beta with you and creating an artificial you, like it's a little silly right now, but in about 12 months they'll do an update and it'll just start. Because you got to think they probably started working on this 5 years ago. So the version that they're working on to come out with right now is what they're working on right now. Like this is technology that's probably 3 years old, 4 years old during COVID. So they could probably easily, if someone was in the room from Apple development team, they could be like, oh, you think that, look at what we're working on right now. That's going to come out in 2 years, and you'd be like, oh, shoot.
And what's the battery life, though?
It's 2 hours. So you have this little battery pack right here, and it's about 2 hours. But you can actually plug this into a power source. So this could actually power.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can have it on
Be connected
however
all the
long
time.
you want if you're plugged in. If I just took this on the go without charging it, it'd be about 2 hours. But you can have a extended charger, and it could just always keep charging it whenever it's not. And so, like, when you think of AI right now where it's at, you think of technology of where it's going to be at, the next 5 years is going to be absolutely insane, in terms of how you communicate, what you use to communicate. For this podcast and even at our church, we're starting to use AI like crazy for many things. AI builds most of our recaps of the messages. They put it in a system, and then it tells you, hey, this was the most vital points that stuck out. And so, all that stuff's happening Jermaine comes in now. He's the one that's most interested in this kind of stuff
Here,
too.
we can swap.
Yeah.
We can swap.
No,
so
you don't have to
sure?
swap. He got a little, he could link up.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
But I think something else fell off. Oh yeah, where is it? Where's the little pad? Is it by my foot? By Pastor Aaron's foot? Oh, right there, that little gray thing. Okay. So, yeah, I only say it because I was talking to my mother-in-law on Sunday, and she saw it charging or whatever, and she was just like, I forgot what prompted the conversation, but she asked like, oh, how are those or whatever, and I basically was like, because I've been in technology a very long time. I've had every single AR you could think of, every Quest, every Oculus, everything. Because I've always tried to trace like where is communication going to go? What is going to happen? I have multiple pairs of Meta glasses because people gift them to me and stuff like that because they know I'm in technology. So I made you like an ad promo for your podcast using my Meta glasses and stuff like that, just messing with it. And so I'm always like, okay, what is going to be that thing that you need to figure out right away or else you're going to be left behind? Because at some point that happens. That's like BlackBerry and the iPhone. Like BlackBerry was like, people are always going to love touching a keyboard. And they don't exist today.
Yep.
And so I think not that the church will never exist, but I think if you want to, for us in the Christian sphere, if you want to continually broadcast this message of who God is, who Jesus is, and helping people understand, we're one of the only ones on a national sphere that do a long-form Christian podcast. Only handful, right? So right now it's a really limited market. That's why when people ask me like, oh, how does this podcast do so well? I'm like, well, there's an element where there's not many of us in the space. So you don't get a lot of choices, So everyone else is just producing, written, pre-written or interview-based Christian podcasts, right? Which are all great stuff, but no one's peeling back the layer and just doing lifestyle Christian conversation.
Right.
So for us right now, it's like, it does really well, and it continues to do because for all intents and purposes, we are one of the only ones out there. And so that's why it does so well, and that's why we get to reach as many people as we get. And it's still, for us, it's still very new. So I look at these things, and I'm always wondering, like, what would be that thing that the moment you start understanding where that communication is, you grab it, you start to see how can we manipulate this for the good, because there's a lot of technology that's just trash for young people and people in general, and the psychological studies that have been done for people on Instagram and Facebook, and they're more depressed, they have high anxiety, so all that stuff does exist. So it's like, do you go on the platform and do you preach then that everyone throw their technology devices into the river? No, nobody's going to do that. I remember when I was a kid in children's church, Pokemon was huge, and our children's pastor made everyone throw away their Pokemon cards. And so he brought in these trash cans and he preached it, and Pokemon's the devil and blah, 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 blah. So we threw all our Pokemon cards in. Right now, faith, throw these demonic things away. And we go and tell my dad, who's the senior pastor, and my dad is pissed. Because all this money was spent on Pokemon cards. And so he goes back in there and he's like, get all your cards right now. Like, no, that's a conversation we can have at home. I don't need you in a children's church. And then he goes and pulls the children's pastor aside. And what I learned later on is he told him like don't push people to do stuff without parent permission. Like, parents have invested in this stuff. It's not your role to use your platform to manipulate children into throwing away something that their parents bought them, and so yada, yada, yada. And so it's like with technology, you can take that approach. Everybody throw your iPhones away right now. Like the likelihood that it's going to happen are slim to none. So it's like, at what point do you activate and grab things? And as far as I've been trying to understand is there going to be a technology that is going to slowly shift the way everything is kind of done? And then using this now, I was like, oh, this is going to be that thing. This is that thing. In 6 to 7 years, when they make this the size of glasses, everybody will have it. Everybody will have it.
It's going to be a worldwide thing.
I
feel like the same way how you were saying the first time you're seeing an iPhone, I remembered seeing cartoons and things where people were FaceTiming and thinking like, oh, I'll never get to see that. Now that's the main way I communicate with my wife is through FaceTime, if we're apart or one's at work and the other. And so I think just even along the lines of technology in general, I mean, you see it all throughout movies, shows, wherever, where it's like, okay, this can be used for good or evil, depending on whose hands it's in and, you know, what their motives are, that kind of thing. And I think of just our mission as Christians, if we're supposed to be reaching all nations and all people, this could be another thing that helps us do that. I mean, you hear about the communities where they're not even letting you approach the shorelines without, you know, shooting arrows and stuff at you because they don't want any outside influence on what they already have going on. So it's like these kind of things make that piece of our mission like that much more tangible in the long run. I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure YouVersion might be working on something, but just in general, like this is because you could put widgets on this where you just have certain things up all the time. And in a second, I could put it on and I can actually record it. We could put it in the podcast because I can actually build a desktop space and then I can still talk to you guys.
That's crazy.
But if you just think about, you know, someone creates a verse of the day widget. You know, and so you have it up, like you may get a ding on your phone, but once you read it, it goes away. But if you had a widget that was on your platform for your Vision Pros, it could be on all day, and so you could consistently see those words. Or as it becomes the AR on it, the artificial reality, not the virtual reality, the AR, because AR can actually involve reality plus virtual reality, the augmented reality. It's like that stuff you could have. You know, you could do, you know, Jesus's prayer in Gethsemane, and you could actually see what Gethsemane looked like, you know, and you could spin it and stretch it and all these things like that. So the idea of for our faith, how that could broaden the space is just, it's just absolutely crazy. And it's like anything anyone has been working on before, it almost feels like just throw it out, throw it in the trash. Because this thing is like, it's gonna, the way this works, and they have an open, you know, AP system where people can get in there and develop stuff for this and stuff like that. But like going to your point with the FaceTime, when FaceTime first came out, I thought to myself, that's cool, but it's also like, who's going to use that? I'm not going to use that every day.
Yeah.
And that's always how it is. You look at something like that and you go, and there are things like that that have come out that are that way, but you think, who's going to use that every day?
Right.
And then you end up getting it and you go actually
it's the
go,
main thing.
oh, I do kind of use this every day. I use that every time I travel. I use that to talk to my son.
For sure.
Like
Right.
it's the only that's the majority way that I talk to my 5-year-old son when I travel.
So
It's how you have
You know.
a more intentional conversation.
Right. Yeah.
So I think about though, like this is amazing and it's great and it's exciting, but I'm like, I feel like people are gonna still have to put even more effort now because we're all stuck on our phone. Like you see people at the dinner table, people at restaurants, everywhere they're on the phone, and it's like, so these you're gonna have to actively be like, wait, you have to take them off because how do you know somebody's trying to have a dialogue conversation with you in person?
So I don't have it turned on right now in what I'm going to say, but if I had it turned on, it actually creates artificial eyes, my eyes, artificially.
What?
And so if I look at you,
That's kind of creepy.
yeah. So if I look at you, the eyes will look at you, and then when I'm actually in the workspace, it'll go to like a blurred bluish tint.
Okay,
But then
can
like if you're
imagine.
speaking to me and I turn and I'm looking at you, and then all of a sudden everything, because it does retinal scans and all these things like that. So it completely knows
Okay.
what my retinal eyes are doing. And so if I have a space right here and you start talking to me, it'll hear you on the microphone. And then if I make eye contact with you, it'll shut that off, or it'll like blur it, it'll fog it out,
Wow.
and then it'll focus on you.
Wow.
And so I could be talking to you fine, but I'll have fake eyes that are now looking at you. So you know I'm talking to you.
I'm
You know,
interested to
like-
see that because it's like looking into somebody's eyes is like, you know,
Yeah,
that's what they
yeah,
say when
yeah.
it's like you have that eye contact, you're looking at them, you can see like emotions and expressions when you're talking to somebody. So I think it's amazing and I think there's so much potential that comes from it. I'm just such a like a touchy, like not touchy feely, but you know, it's like, oh, you want that human aspect
Yeah.
with people. And it's already difficult as it is, just like with the phones and stuff. So I'm just imagining what are the challenges that are going to come with it as well that we
Yeah.
have to prepare ourselves for, you know.
More than likely, what it's going to be like when it's a day-to-day use is more than likely the screen will go translucent, like Aaron's glasses, more than likely. So when they start to talk to you, more than likely, it'll go see-through.
Okay.
Or it'll be really good at scanning your eyes, and
Yeah.
it'll create the fake eyes that feel really, really authentic. But more
Yeah.
than anything, it's going to go translucent, and then they're going to be able to talk. But if you think about the reality of like your kids move away to college,
Yeah,
your blah, blah, and you're having something like this because
Yeah.
it scans and it creates all emotion. It scans your teeth. It scans everything.
Wow.
And so when you're in when you FaceTime someone, I mean, it kind of looks like a first generation Shrek movie. Like that's kind of what the animation it looks like of you. It scans you. But probably in the next 3 years, it'll look much more like these like AI humans that they create, which are like, it's kind of like, is that person a human, or they look a little fake? Or
like the graphics that you get from.
And then probably in 6 years, it's going to be imperceptibly you.
Wow.
And so you're talking to people you love, not in the room.
Right.
You know, you're not going to use that. That's going to be the hardest thing to figure out, is like when you're in the room. But how often are you, like for me, when I'm talking to people in a room, I try as best as possible, like put this to the side, right?
Yeah, the phone.
So I think we're all, for the most part, okay at putting our phones down when a real conversation needs to happen. Unless someone's truly addicted to their phone, then they're gonna, or they're rude and they just keep looking at it or whatever. But we'll be able to put that aside, and so you'll easily be able to, if you have your glasses, put it to the side or look at it real quick. But whatever it is, it's really the fact of what is it going to do to keep people connected who aren't in the room. It's going to change the game.
Yeah.
It's going to change the game for university classes. It's going to change the game for work meetings, Zooms. Everyone's going to feel like they're in the room. It's like the work from home thing is going to help with some of the depressive rates, because they said work from home doesn't change people's workability, but it does change people's mental health when people work from home.
Yeah.
So they can actually get the job done, but their mental health goes lower because much more lonely and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So this will, I believe, does help. I mean, I FaceTimed Jermaine on it, and I felt like to me on my side, on his side, he saw my little like AI side that didn't feel too real. But on my side, who's seeing him perfectly on the camera, I felt more engaged on FaceTime than I ever have through that. You know,
that's what trips me out about this. People don't, like, the vast majority of just regular people don't realize the augmented reality nature of it, and that's the
I'm gonna turn it on and show you.
That's the crazy concept. Is it enhances the reality that's already there. So people have already found these radically functional ways to use them that Apple technically never intended for, and that's the beauty of this crazy technology. You're like, you know, there was this video I sent Pastor Adam, and the ad of this guy, it's a screen recording. All the comments are like, this ad is better than Apple's ad they paid millions of dollars for, as far as quality. And it's just the guy walking around his house going, here's what I do with that. I have a screen. I have a grocery list on my refrigerator. I have, instead of my screen, I put a 75-inch TV right there, and that's where I watch the game. And it's all in his headset. It's just a trippy concept that augmented reality is the big whoop with this stuff. It's not the VR right now. It's the fact that what's in front of you is enhanced. You use your imagination to make your life better.
Yeah.
Got it.
Dear Apple, will you be able to have my prescription?
Yeah, they do. No, they can.
They do it on the front end, Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah.
They ask you what. So right now I'm typing in my code with my fingers. So I'm doing this all with my fingers right now. So it asks you on the front end, before you get it, you have to use your iPhone, and it scans your face. It gets your face size. Ask you what your are you nearsighted, farsighted. So they have Zeiss lens that they'll attach to it if you have some type of poor vision. It has an extended frame for your glasses and stuff like that. So let me
Did you have to get used to like the hand and touching, you're not touching too far or too close?
I mean, you learn it in minutes. Literally, there's almost no, if you understand how an iPhone works,
Oh, I
there's
can
almost
see your eyes.
You could see eyes right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how, I'm mostly using it most of the time. So let me I'm just making the workspace real quick. So I'm putting some pictures.
As I'm looking at
here.
as I'm looking at Pastor Adam,
I can see
this is how my great grandmother. We went to our great grandmother's house last night. And
Obviously, I feel like an
Trinity
idiot wearing it, but keep going. We'll be on the.
So my 94-year-old great grandmother is looking at her great grandchildren do homework, and she's just like in another world. In Faith, my 12-year-old is talking to a 94-year-old. The first thing she says when she walks in, "Hey Nana, what's your Wi-Fi password?"
Oh my God.
Nana doesn't have internet at the house.
Oh
man.
So Trinity's like, how are you trying to fix her TV if she don't have Wi-Fi? I said, well, she has cable. What's cable?
Oh yeah.
And Nana's trying to figure out, how are you doing homework without books?
Right.
Because all the books are in the iPad. So it's just like, now I'm looking at Pastor Adam. like my great grandma. Wait, what is he doing? I don't know that. I don't know that world.
Yeah.
I'm glad he explained because I didn't want to walk into the sanctuary and see him.
Oh, earlier I walked in.
What's going on?
Earlier he was in the office and I walked in and I was like, oh wait.
She's like, yeah, because I had it connected to my computer workspace.
Can I talk to you right now?
Yeah, and I could see her come in. I was like, oh hey.
I told my wife this.
No big deal.
I have a theory that like the way we interact with TV will be completely different in 10 years.
Yeah, we won't need remotes.
Because we're more individualized anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like social media is more individualized. And then it's like, sometimes my wife and I are watching TV, but we're still like kind of like hybrid. Yeah, multitasking. So it's like with this like personalization.
Oh yeah.
I
don't even, that's a good point because I don't even watch TV anymore. I have my iPad. And so I'm like, I'll just watch on my iPad sometimes movies, and I'm on Netflix, so it's not like I'm browsing or browse on Netflix. But oh yeah,
from our desk.
So what are those called? What? These exactly? Yeah.
Apple.
This is Apple Vision Pro.
Apple Vision Pro.
All right, yeah, I'm about to screen record this, so we'll put this on the back end. On let me just double check how to do it. There we go. So there we go.
I know this is so wild. And then if you're not watching, Pastor Adam's just preparing everything.
Okay, so I am recording. So now everyone will see what what I'm seeing, and we'll see on the back end. So I'll walk you guys through what I'm looking at right now. Okay. So as I move closer to you guys, people are going to see everything else blurs out. So as I make eye contact with Aaron, as I make contact with Nancy, everything kind of blurs out. Mm-hmm. But then when I pay attention, right now I have Avatar: The Way of Water playing right here above Aaron's head. And so that movie's playing. Over here to my right, I have the Beyond the Letter podcast. And the moment I pinch it, I still have the movie going right now, but I can scrub through our podcast. And when I play it, that movie will stop.
That's wild.
Oh, I can hear it.
That's wild.
You hear the podcast?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Over here, I have some pictures from this past Sunday. So over here, I have pictures from this past Sunday over Colin's head. And then I could come over here, and then I have our Abundant Music, which is about to release. And I have that, and I can actually start.
Oh, I hear it.
And so I could turn the volume up right here.
That's crazy.
People are probably hearing on the microphone right now.
Oh my gosh.
And then I could come back over here, and then I could go back to Avatar. Mm-hmm. So.
What's on the table? Is there anything on the table?
I don't have anything. I could put something on the table. So I can. What do you want on the table, Jermaine?
Can you look for food places?
Of your boys.
Go to what?
Remind you why you do what you do.
Do what?
Oh, like a mission?
I don't know. Put like a photo album or something on the table.
I do. I have this Sundays.
Photos
so
already.
I can move it. So
what about the verse of the day?
I can put it over by Nancy. So I could do it, and then people can see right here as I'm recording. I can kind of stretch it. I'm doing this in seconds with my finger right now. So I could close that one out. I could close that out.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and then I could put this closer in front of Aaron. So now I don't even see Aaron anymore. I just see the podcast.
It's reminding me of Foundation when they're pulling up the thing
and then I can move it. I can move it back over here, and so I could do it. I could do anything, and so I could be talking to you guys, and I could pull anything up. I can answer text.
But how we look, you said we
like
don't look exactly how we look in real life.
No, I wouldn't look. If you were FaceTiming me, I wouldn't look how I look in real life because it would do a scanned version of me, which I have it turned off right now.
Can I FaceTime you right now?
I don't think I have it turned on right now. Let me see if I could. It might have to have me rescan. Let me see. It's called something specific. It's called Persona. I don't think I have Persona turned on. No, I'd have to rescan myself.
Okay.
And then we could.
Like rescan your face?
Yeah, because whenever I turn it off, you have to rescan on the front end, and then there's a whole scan. Turns your head. You have to take it off, scan your head, and stuff like that.
Every time.
No, only if you turn it off. Yeah. I had it turned off.
Gotcha.
Because I'll FaceTime it. If I FaceTime, it'll just show like a picture of me. If I have that turned off, I found most people find it creepy right now. So, and then I could take all this, and then I could go back. I could turn everything off again, and kind of reset. Turn all that off.
But how are you how do you focus on? You said you have the podcast.
Oh, the last thing I didn't do is I could actually turn an environment on, so I can actually turn you guys off, and I could be in Yosemite right now. Dang. And it only highlights Aaron. It only highlights people as I look. Other than that, I'm in this space. Yosemite. I have it set to
So
nighttime.
you could be
right
hiking and still chopping it up with us, like
For sure.
hiking like on your treadmill,
Right.
but have
So
something
you-
in there, and then
Wow.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a major
Yeah.
multitasking though, because
Yeah.
you don't have these all on
I
at the
could turn
same
it on.
time, right?
Yeah, they were all on at the same time.
So how are you focusing on everything at the same time?
As I turn my eyes, one gets brighter than the other.
Oh,
So, like,
I
different
see.
windows.
So it's not like they're
Mm-hmm.
all
Tabs and
blasting
It's
at
like
the same
like
time.
your virtual desktop then.
Got it. Because I'm
And
like,
so instead
how?
of clicking it, your eye is clicking
Yeah.
it.
So, did I?
wild.
I hope I was recording it. Oh yeah, view recording.
Okay. Because I'm like,
Okay.
how are you focusing?
Yeah. So what
See,
I'm
you
gonna do
guys-
right now is I'll show it to you guys real quick, and obviously the podcast will see it later. So if you're listening to audio, you could go see this on YouTube, so you can see what it is that we're doing. But I'll turn on my AirDrop, and then because I want your guys' live reaction for people on they're gonna be seeing it too already. They would have already seen it, but I'm gonna actually AirDrop this to me so I can.
That's cool.
Yep, there we go. All right, let's see. Are you guys' AirDrops on?
Yeah, we're
I could
contacts,
do
so you
Jermaine,
should
I
be
could do
able
Nancy's, I could do Aaron, I could do
to drop
mine.
it.
I did that in seconds. That's how intuitive it is. I just AirDropped this all to you guys. You guys barely saw my finger moving.
How long did this take to set up?
It takes like 40 minutes probably to set up,
Okay.
and then once it's
It's
set
like when you
up,
get a new
it's done.
iPhone, you play with it and
Yeah. It's just like that. So it says waiting, but I don't know what happened.
maybe I
Oh.
don't. Storage. I wonder if it's. You
No,
need a certain
it
amount of
should,
storage.
I haven't come through yet.
Maybe because it's longer.
Oh, probably.
Let me just try to. You guys could add your comments right now, so the podcast isn't dry.
Oh, yeah,
Let me
so
figure
we're
out how
not-
to share.
So, I mean, you said this costs $3,500 for
Correct.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh. I mean,
she's thinking that like June, July.
I know. I'm like, let me run my budget. I mean, no, it's so interesting. Like, I would definitely want to play with it and mess around with it. You know, I think it would be really interesting also when we have certain events where people may not may have hesitations, for example, to go on a missions trip. But obviously we had the outside, we had pictures, but if people can put them on and be like,
You
wow,
could 100%
this is
do that.
what this, what this location looks
Yep.
like, and
Yeah.
just gives you that sense of like you're there.
Yeah, because even with like our last thing they just did with the hut in the
Mm-hmm.
courtyard of trying to show them, okay, this is kind of the vibe you're gonna get going
Right.
out on a mission. This could take that to a whole different like.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you at someone's feet in their hut. Out
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's wild.
you could totally film something in a mission space with a 360 camera, and then you could have it just simply uploaded to YouTube because it recognizes
yeah, and
something's
then you could just
360,
have
and then
that.
it just like right now when I did Avatar, it recognized right away. We make Avatar in 2D and 3D. Which one do you want to watch it in? It's like,
Yeah.
Man.
and then the 3D one kind of pops out. So
So I saw this TikTok, and I don't know if it's the same glasses, but this lady had some of those on, and I guess the movie or whatever she was watching was scary. So she was in the kitchen, and the microwave was like right there. So she legit booked it. She said, boom, right into the microwave.
And shattered it,
And
right?
shattered it.
Yes, I saw
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I
So
saw
I'm
that.
like, that makes me a little. You got to be careful.
well, that wasn't this.
Where you're
that
at.
wasn't this. 'cause
Okay, that was
wouldn't-
something
It
else.
wouldn't be possible. Yeah, it would go out of frame.
No, she booked
So-
it and shattered that.
All right, where's Colin's AirDrop is open. Let me see.
There we
Aaron's.
go.
All
There
right.
we go.
Mine is too
What's that?
open.
Here we go.
I mean,
All right,
let
it'll
us.
drop. It's about a 4-minute video. So, everyone would have already seen on the podcast what this looks like on your end or what I was doing because they'll add it in on the back end. So, yeah, as regards to what you're talking about, that would have been like a Quest or something like that because with this, it would immediately kind of blur. Oh, you got it already.
That's serious.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, you,
Wait.
yeah. You see my head moving. Yeah. Colin's got it. I'm
That's
I
trying.
don't,
So,
I don't have
okay.
it.
Oh, you're seeing it already? You got it
Huge
already?
screen.
Yeah, you could share it with
See it?
Nancy. I don't know why it says.
What?
So yeah, it's focusing on what you make eye contact with.
And Jermaine in the background.
And you'll see me when I look
Yeah.
at you guys, it
I
will
look a
completely
little
focus on you guys. So
Did it add some pounds? Because I look a little heavier.
that's the
Wait
VR
a
on
minute.
it. Yeah.
Why am I white? I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. That's insane. What? And it looks so crispy clean.
Yeah, it's on my end in the basket it's
Yes.
4K. It's as you see everything. Yeah.
That is crazy.
That's because I went. Yeah. Did you get it, Jermaine? Who got it over there?
That's
Alizé?
nuts.
Yeah, that is nuts.
I don't know why it didn't go to you guys yet. Yeah. So
Wow. No, that's
So, like, what are the, I mean, like, benefits-wise, like, to have all this up there, right? If somebody's not really a techie person, what would you say,
Well,
like, oh, well, this is,
as of right now, where the technology is at, you would have to have some type of technology prowess and have some type of lifestyle or career where you need to multitask. So right away, right now, what I envisioned right away, because like when I'm preaching or when I'm preparing a sermon, so when I'm preparing a sermon, I may have some type of elements where I'm reading like a Greek Bible, where I'm listening to a sermon on the subject matter that I'm going to preach, because you want to hear right away, how are the preachers hearing this? How are they teaching it? And then I'll have Microsoft Word open. So an average study space for me is having a laptop, having a TV, sermon playing, having books. And so right away, I could actually eliminate all of those things and do it all virtually.
that makes
I could have a
sense.
sermon
That's
here,
true.
I could have a Greek Bible here, I could have this, and they have a Microsoft Word for this. So I could have Microsoft Word open. I could have my laptop touch, and I could be like this. And it's all in one space.
Yeah, okay, I can see how now.
If I was a student in school and I had online learning, and you can still do it right now because you could pull up a web link on this, or you can connect your computer. I could have my teacher's lecture here.
Yeah.
I could be taking notes right here. If I'm a paralegal and I have to, because a lot of that stuff is done through Zoom now, I could have Zoom up and I could be taking the courtroom notes like this while having the Zoom. Because what I know some lawyers and note takers have to do is, because nowadays you go to some court cases on Zoom, so they'll have one computer for Zoom, and then they'll have one computer for taking notes, one computer for something for this, something for that.
Yeah.
You could actually replace all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You could do it all on that.
Oh, that makes sense. Because,
So when you think about, really, it's someone who needs to. Now, can you do it for pure enjoyment? Sure. I've tested it because the other, like Oculus Quest and all that stuff like that, Meta Quest, I get sick after 20 minutes. I get like nauseous.
Okay.
Oh.
Mess with your eyes. My eyes feel cross-eyed after. I had to take it off. You get a headache. Like
That's what I would get weary on, because I have a double stigmatism.
So I have a double stigmatism. I legitimately tested yesterday because I'm like, okay, how far can you take this? I wore this for 3 hours yesterday.
Okay.
I watched a movie
Wow.
and I did some things just to see how is this gonna. I could have kept it on all day and not had a care in the world.
good.
Okay.
Wouldn't have bothered me at all.
Okay.
And everyone can see on the back end when they've seen this already. Everything for me when I'm in there is pretty much 4K. Everything is 4K.
Okay, so clear.
The clarity is crazy. Only you guys are maybe 720p, which is still high quality. That's only the downgrade. So once they fix that and these cameras are 4K and I see you guys in 4K, that'll be like a complete game changer.
Yeah.
Depth perception is exactly the same.
Yeah.
You guys could barely notice, even though I was doing a little more outward, right? You could barely notice when I was moving stuff,
sure.
other than when I was like
Yeah.
this or whatever.
Yeah.
But I could do it right here if I
'cause I
wanted
even
to.
It
saw
was
in the
hard
video
to
you
tell.
popped up like the all your settings to where like the messages to go through settings
yeah.
as those things are still up. Like that was
And I'm
wild.
just barely moving my fingers like
Yeah.
this, and I'm like, so
Yeah. So I could see using it for us. I mean, we're in the digital marketing space. So not only do I have 2 phones, I have a laptop and I have a main computer. I used to
Yeah.
work off 2 computers. So I can just see all of that. Like while
It's
I'm
all
posting,
replaced.
creating caption, looking at a podcast, writing it, creating content. It's like all in one.
Yeah.
So 100%.
yeah. So if I told you like, you don't really, if you really had to choose, you don't need a laptop anymore. You don't need a desktop anymore. You don't need an iPad anymore. $3,500 is not a lot of money
'Cause
when
put
you're
all
talking about
together,
I'm
yeah.
replacing all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that stuff together is $5-6 grand. You can get rid of all that stuff unless you're actually doing like you have to edit big videos or whatever. Then yeah, but this can help facilitate that because you can treat it like a separate screen. You could do all your video editing and still have all of your text message, blah blah, and you don't have to leave that screen. That's the other benefit. So for someone who may have time is of the essence. That timing, because as I was watching a movie yesterday, normally when I'm watching a movie, sometimes I'll pause it, I'll read a text message. When I was watching a movie yesterday on my couch testing it, and I had my text message open, someone like Ashley text me or something, I'd look, and then I'd hit the audio button, and I'd be like, yeah, tonight that sounds good. And then I hit send, close it, and I go back like this, and it's happening in seconds. Wow. It's just... And I'm testing it like this isn't going to be part of my, probably right now, my daily life. I will use it for sure to it's immediately does help replace some things.
Yeah.
I'll 100% start doing message prep with this more than likely on some given occasions.
Yeah.
Additionally, can I see in the next 2 years that probably every 13-year-old or 14-year-old, when this gets smaller and more affordable, is going to want it? 18-year-old, 17, whatever. Oh, yeah.
Is there a like a code? You know how in our phones we put in a passcode? Is there the ability to do that with?
No, it has it. Yeah, and it has an optical scan as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
If you put it on right now, it wouldn't let you use it.
I was gonna say like.
No,
got it.
I'd
I'm
have
sure
to. I could do. I could do Apple Pay in there too and stuff like that, and it just
You can
scans
shop
your
on there?
eyes.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
That is
you can shop on there. Yeah.
It's over.
So like if you put it on right now, it wouldn't let you move forward until I put it on and I put it in friend mode. And I put it in friend mode. I can set what I don't want you to have access to. So it could turn off my messages, my emails, my blah, blah, blah. And it just lets you like play games, go on YouTube to test it.
You can,
know?
okay, the notifications and all that.
Yeah, all the notifications get blocked off from you to access once I put it in friend mode.
Oh, wow. Is it waterproof?
Probably not.
Probably
No.
not.
No.
Is there anything you don't like about it since you've been using it?
Obviously size, weight is one, but that's all stuff that I think is going to be solved. There's nothing that I don't like in it that I don't foresee that it's just in its first version of it.
Okay.
I don't like how you look in Zoom. I don't like how you look in FaceTime. It looks like you're a 3D rendered Shrek figure. But I mean, outside of that,
So it's visual.
It's spot on. Oh yeah. When I've used the Quest and all that other VR stuff in the past, how much time do you have for me to tell you what I don't like about it?
Okay.
That was the problem with this. I thought, all right, let me see it, and then I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's bothersome about it, and then I used it, and I was like,
so wait, why did the other one give you a headache and these didn't?
There's probably a lot of reasons, but the main one would be a quality issue of how everything looks inside of it. Everything's a little either pixelated or it's not in 1080 or 4K.
Yeah.
So the quality, so it feels very close up to your eyes. It's like you watching a TV screen, 6 inches away. It feels that way. This doesn't feel that way.
No, that
doesn't feel like you're watching a screen 1 inch away from your face. It doesn't feel like that at all. So, and then the quality is very high, so you don't have that feeling that you're in a virtual space. So you don't lose that almost that seasickness, because that's what I liked in those other ones too. Is like you get motion sickness, seasickness. This you don't get it with those. You don't get like a motion sickness, a seasickness, unless probably you're really sensitive to it. But
and I know when you were playing it, we all heard it. I don't know if that was on purpose, but what if you don't want people to hear, like you're on a call or something and it's a private call?
You can put on your AirPods.
Oh, okay. So it's not like it shuts noise
got
reduction within it or anything.
Got it.
No, because the speakers are right behind your ear, right in front of your ear. But it's just like your phone. Like it's like your phone.
Right.
You can't hide the audio from your phone unless you put like a headset on or AirPods on and stuff like that. And then you could for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now that visual quality is everything, because I remember trying one of my friend's first VR sets, and he had a roller coaster app on there, and I remember everybody who tried. We're at a table like this, but people have food, drinks. People were getting scared and swiping stuff off the table.
Oh yeah.
But even with that, a few minutes in, and you're like, okay, I got to take this off because I'm feeling like I'm flying all over the place. So with this, things are actually set compared to where you're actually at. I think that's going to make a huge difference in what you do.
And like, so if I was on a call, nobody could hear you. So it doesn't work on the flip side. It's noise canceling on that side. So if I was on a call, I could be in I could be in a restaurant and they'd only hear me. They wouldn't hear anything around me. So, and Nathan, I was FaceTiming my brother and I had because I could actually FaceTime you and share my screen on a FaceTime call. So you could see everything I'm seeing. So Nathan was able to see Thomas, and he heard Thomas talking to me, and he's like, I can't hear Thomas. And I'm like, come here. I had Thomas sit on my lap. And I'm like, say something, Thomas. And he's like sitting on my lap. And Nathan's like, I still can't. I can see his mouth moving, but I can't hear him.
Wow.
Wow.
And
So it's like locked in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the best version one of something I've ever, tried, when you conceptually think this is the first version of something they're going to probably have 10 of in the
It's
next 10 years.
like we're back to iPhone 1 right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think that. So, yeah, I mean,
I wonder how affordable they can make something like this, though. Like
it'll probably always be with inflation and stuff. It'll like the cheapest they'll probably get it is around $1,500, $2,000 is probably what it'll be, which is the cost of an iPhone nowadays. So it's not different, you know. What's that?
Potentially replaces the need for an iPhone, MacBook, you know. Because I'm seeing the video editors already edit videos on their stuff. They're already editing videos on Final Cut, which is, I believe, the one that's owned by Apple, or if it's just iMovie. But they're already editing on Final Cut, editing photos. Like photographers are already using this because it's color calibrated perfectly right out of the...
Yeah. If this can get semi to the size of what Aaron's glasses is right now, I would never carry a phone with me.
Yeah, that's
hands
crazy.
down. I would never. I would have no need. It'd be no desire. If this is so intuitive, I'd have no desire to have a phone on me. I wouldn't even need it.
Pictures
The potential.
It takes video, it takes photos, it does everything, and they're gonna have to figure out how to put cameras and all that. So maybe at its best, maybe it'll be double the size of what Aaron's glasses are, which are still, once you're wearing it, you're gonna forget about it. People will forget about it. It's once society deems that this is something they're gonna accept on a daily basis, all that other stuff just kind of fades away.
Yeah.
That kind of seems to stick out.
Because when you're wearing them and you're the only one wearing them, you look unavailable. Do not disturb. You know, it's like, oh, there's something going right.
Yeah.
What's appropriate right now? Like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But once they're glasses and once more people,
It's like the
have
meta
it and
glasses.
stuff,
They're thicker than what you have, and you can see, you know. So, I mean, if they even get
There's
it to that
cameras in
point,
it.
cameras.
The potential is legit, like how we never thought. I mean, this might be 10, 15 years, but we never thought that a phone would totally destroy the alarm clock industry, you know? But it has. Nobody buys alarm clocks anymore.
Yeah.
Our phones are alarm clock. This is where my bets are, societally speaking. I think it's going to be in 10, 15 years, no one's buying phones, MacBooks.
100%.
It's going to be that. Honestly, that's what I think. It's just crazy.
Well, that's what the futuristic, like, movies and shows are showing, that people aren't using their phone. They're doing like this for FaceTime and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Well, and you look how AI is going to develop, right? So let's just say in my calendar, I have that I'm going to dinner tonight at 7:00, okay, with Jermaine, and we're going to go to PF Chang's, and he texts me, hey, where are we going to dinner tonight? And then my phone just automatically texts him back, we're going to PF Chang's. It knows my calendar. That's where AI is headed. Like, it'll understand certain prompts that are already existent, that as you have communication with people, it'll just automatically fill it in, you know, in seconds, or it'll respond in seconds, or it'll make something in seconds. It'll say, you know, you'll say, hey, I need you to build me a grocery list from blah, blah, blah. And you're going to have scanners in your refrigerator that says, Adam, 9 times out of 10, Adam has eggs in his fridge. The moment they're not there anymore, it'll do a scan inside of your fridge, and it'll know, and it'll either send you a reminder, or it'll order it itself through DoorDash or whatever, Instacart.
Right.
And it'll say, Adam usually has eggs. He only has one more. I'm ordering them, or I'm going to ask him, do you want me to have it ordered for you? Like that is like, and you kind of be like, oh, that's kind of something we see already, but the intuitiveness, I think that's what people are missing, is how intuitive technology and AI, and does that mean you reject it? Does that mean you be cautious of it? Yeah, you should be cautious of all these things.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if once you deem, it's just like what Life Church did with the YouVersion Bible app. When Apple said, hey, we're going to come out with an app, they were the first to the race, and they built an app where you could just read the Bible. And now I think they have 2 billion users or something like that. 1 or 2 billion users or something like that for the YouVersion. So that was only 14 years ago. So I think in the Christian space, if you recognize, now, if something's just completely bad, it's bad. But when you recognize, oh, this is going to be a gray area, there's great opportunity for good, great opportunity where bad will come out of it. But how could we manipulate this for good? Like I said, putting a verse of the day every day that doesn't go away on the widgets and all that stuff like that. Like, that kind of stuff would be incredible. If every single day you see a new fighter verse that you're memorizing, all your stuff, like, you're going to know the Bible better, you know?
Yeah.
So what were you going to say, Jermaine?
No, just because I was on a Reddit doing a deep dive the other day about this stuff.
Of course you were.
But I'm like, because supposedly leaked files about like what they're, you know, basically the accessories that are going to be with the Vision Pro, and people are like, they're gonna have imagine just like even Tesla has done. They've revamped phones, your phone key, right? Or the fact that your car key is a card. And so they're talking about potential that Apple's going to release cards that's a proxy for your phone. And so when you look at it with your Vision Pro, it's your phone. Because right now it's like the potential that you have these accessories that represent something in your virtual reality so that your life is just a lot lighter. And then instead of when you drop it, you just dropped a card. You didn't drop a $1,500 device.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy the concept, like going into this, their roadmap or potential roadmap of the next 10, 15 years, like Gabriel texted me like, bro, when you getting these, Jermaine? And I'm like, bro, I'm waiting till Pastor Adam gets them because he's on the cutting edge. I'm a watcher of this stuff, but Pastor Adam, he really immersed himself in being on the fringes of technology.
I spend hours on this kind of stuff.
Crazy.
I mean, you do too reading on that stuff like that too, but I'll have 20 friends that I'm texting at work at Apple or somewhere that I'm like trying to figure out what's going on.
To your point about the intuitiveness, it's like I remember being tripped out the first time I got in the car and my phone was like, it's going to take you 20 minutes to get to work today. And I was like, I never set anything in here for that.
Or when you're nearby the gym, you're like, oh, you're close to the gym. You want to go to the gym? And it's like, what?
It's understanding traffic.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff is AI backed. It's also communal backed in terms of using other people's drive time and everything like that. But it's consolidating all that information. Like, many of us are old enough to remember the days we didn't have to print MapQuest papers anymore to get somewhere. I remember that because it really wasn't too long ago that you didn't have to look at a MapQuest and be like, okay, I'm going to go 210 to 15, I'm getting off here and blah, 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 to where your phone could just tell you. And then when your phone could connect to your car and it show on the car. I mean, all that stuff has happened so fast. And we kind of don't even, when it comes out, we just adopt it. We're just like, oh, that's cool, Apple CarPlay. But to think 6 years ago, there was no Apple CarPlay.
If you ask my dad, he's going to ask for directions.
Yeah.
Nobody asked for directions.
My parents do. Yeah.
They just asked for the address. So then, like, my dad got frustrated with me because, like, I wouldn't listen to him give me directions. And I'm like, Dad, just give me the address. It's for the church. And I'm like, just give me the address. No. He pulls out a napkin. You make it right here. I said, Dad, if you just give me that. What if your technology doesn't work? I haven't been in that scenario.
My technology failed me yet. But a lot more problems if my technology don't work.
So there's gonna be people that are like, I recognize it exists, but you have to stay in the, so there's gonna be
Well, and then everyone, Jermaine and others laugh at me all the time because I don't carry a wallet on me anymore. I just use Apple Pay. So everybody always makes fun of me. I use my watch or I use my phone. Everybody's like, what if you need your wallet? I go, what if you go somewhere that don't take Apple Pay? Then I leave.
That is not for me.
I'm just...
No, what got me was the other day, he like flared up on me like, why would I need my wallet? And I'm like, bro.
Because we're leaving. I go, oh, do I have my wallet? And I was like, nah, let's go. And I was like, no, I don't, but let's go.
And I'm like, you don't think you need your wallet? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what if you get, I didn't say about Apple Pay or anything, but this time I was like, what if you get pulled over? And he's like, what'd you say? Oh, they could search you up. They could do all this stuff like.
Well, yeah.
Driver's license?
No, yeah. I have a picture of my driver's license in my phone. I got in a car accident in December. The cop came. He's like, well, can I have your ID? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't have it on me. I said, I have a picture of it. Is that fine? He said, oh, yeah, that's fine. I show him the picture. He writes my license number down, goes in the computer, picture, all their computers are connected to a system. He pulled up, he saw my stuff. He's like, is your stuff all in good standing? I'm like, yeah, it's all in good standing. Typed it in. He's like, oh yeah, you're good. I don't need your ID. So I was like, there's literally almost not. I mean, if you go on an airplane or something like that.
Certain states are allowing like Apple Pay ID.
Yeah, I think like Illinois and stuff like that. You
like
can actually
6 of them right now.
Yeah, you could double click and pull up your actual driver's license on your phone and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I mean, if I was somewhere and my phone completely died or stopped working, I wouldn't be able to go to Starbucks. But like I'll go home. I can go back home, or I'm never traveling. I'm not going to go down to San Diego for 4 days and not have my wallet on me, but on my day to day,
that's such a Kanye thing. Kanye doesn't like.
Well, he probably expects everyone to give it to him for free. That's probably the difference. I don't expect anyone.
Well, he said he's like, you live a life that you've given so much that everywhere you go, you don't ever. He's like, I don't like. He goes to Selfridges.
He doesn't pay wherever he
goes to Selfridges and he don't even give him an account number. legit. He's like, I want that.
He said, I'm here.
And he just leaves. He goes, it's just, I don't even, and that's obviously
so he
extreme.
doesn't pay. They give it to him for free.
Wow.
I don't
Which
know.
I can see that.
Well,
I mean,
but he's saying, I just don't pay.
Yeah.
I don't pay for anything. And he's like, I just got picked up by Demna, and Demna was tripping because I don't have my wallet. I don't have cash. I don't have nothing. And he's like, but he's seen it in real time. It works out. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. But I like how he said what I was saying was like, oh yeah, that's like Kanye. No, me and Kanye are not, we're not operating.
But I wonder if you were
inspired
inspired by Kanye to be like, wait, maybe there's a breakthrough idea there.
No, I'm inspired by practicality. That's what it is. Like, I don't need my wallet anymore. What do I, like, for me right away, I'm like, oh, the couple of things that I might need. What do I need my wallet for now with tap to pay? Even if I'm in a drive-through, they get annoyed, but I'll be like, hey, I only have Apple Pay. And then they have to pull the little thing out and, they got to pull it out the thing.
The only thing I can think of, but now places have, like when you go eat and you get
know?
Stamps, like I go to this like Poke place and you get stamps, but majority of them are like, oh, now we have an app, so it's like.
And you can pay through most of those apps now too. Dutch Brothers or whatever else. Literally, I tell Siri when I'm leaving my house, hey Siri, do my Starbucks order. And then it puts it in right away at Starbucks by the church. And I just roll up, walk in, take it. Like, I've just tried to completely replace, just those minimal fractional times. Mm-hmm. But you don't even think about it. I was telling Aaron, we just did a staff retreat, and I took all my sermon notes for my staff training and I put it in an AI system, and it built my PowerPoint in 20 seconds. And then I just hit play. I went up and I hit play, and Aaron was like, bro, I spent 3 days on my PowerPoint. And it don't look like that one.
So you didn't tell me?
Yeah. Or I was blown away when you told me about we were on a Zoom call, and I was like, okay, ready to take notes, right? Because I'm always ready to take notes. And then you're like, oh no, you don't have to take notes. And
my
I was like,
robot's going to do it.
Who's this robot in here? And not only did it take notes, it captured the action items for everybody. I was like, so you mean I don't gotta? And
you were, because it was with one of the places I sit on a board, and did you hear him on the front end? They were like, "Is real Adam here or is his robot here?" They asked that because they don't know. Oh yeah. Because if you send me a calendar invite to my work email for a Zoom with the link attached to it, I have an AI
or Microsoft Teams
or Microsoft Teams. They're both of them. I have an AI that immediately sees it and schedules itself to add it into my Zoom. Damn. And so it immediately jumps in and it says Adam's AI note taker. Mm-hmm. And so then I could not be in the meeting, but my AI note taker will still be taking the notes. So then when the meeting's done, it'll send me an email. And so even if I can't make that meeting, I could literally on my downtime scroll through it and find out what was talked about and if anything was assigned to me. Like, hey, Adam, can you let us know? Blah, blah. And they can talk to that AI as if it was me,
That's wild.
And it'll update. So like, you look at this stuff, I really don't think people aren't talking about it enough. And I don't talk about it too much on the podcast because it's like, because I love talking about this, but I don't know how many people are interested. I don't know how many people tuned off from this. But this like my whole life,
It's very intriguing.
And even if you're not like, even if I'm not like, oh my God, the latest tech, but even if you're not in that world, it's still like, causes you to pause and stop and be like, wait, how can I utilize this to my advantage, to be able to create either more space or just make it more efficient in the workspace.
Gabe put me on with our last AK meeting. We're setting up a scavenger hunt, and he brings a list of all the different places and how it's written out. So I'm reading this, I'm like, Gabe has bars. Like, where is this coming from? Like, what? And he was like, no, I put the main clues in the AI and it spit it out for us. And I'm like, it gave you all this. Like, you gave it keywords and it gave you this. And he's like, yeah. So I don't imagine, like, if we need notes or, PowerPoint, like, I can't. It's unreal with this stuff.
Right.
So I'll say this, in tech and innovation, here's like this might interest some people. So there's a thing we use in like our tech meetings to know where people are at. So you take 100% of people that are in the nation America, right? Mm-hmm. And they're in 5 categories of where they're at. And each person can evaluate and think. So I'd be interested in each person where they think they are, okay? So when it comes to really anything, but you think of like business, technology, anything like that, people are in five categories and there's percentages, right? So you have, I'll name the 5 and then I'll give everyone the percentages. There's innovators. So that's the first scale. First scale is innovators, people who are pretty much adopt something from nothing type of thing. not actual innovators, people creating, but an innovator is someone who sees something and right away goes, I think it's someone who buys this Vision Pro right off the bat, right? It's innovator. Like they
pioneer it.
They want to understand it right away. Then there's early adopters. Okay, so that's a person who this is basically when version 2 of this comes out. There's still going to be an early adopter, whoever buys that. Then there's early majority, and then that's pretty much version 5 of this, And then there's late majority, and then there's laggards, people who are just behind. That's someone who just downloaded Instagram last week, to laggard. Just they've not heard about it, they're not connected to that thing or whatever. Usually we use this in tech field, but this could be in anything. So you have innovators. Only 2.5% of people are innovators. Only 2% of the nation fits in an innovator gap. So that's someone who bought cryptocurrency in 2015, 2012. That's someone who, bought an iPhone in 2008, 2007. That's the innovator. Then there's early adopters. There's 13%, of people are early adopters. 34% are early majority. So this is basically the case where everyone that's kind of like in 2020, by the end of 2020, whoever had TikTok was an early majority. If you had TikTok in late 2020. If you had TikTok when it was Musical.ly, which a lot of people don't even know, but it was renamed, you were an innovator. You were innovator. Like if you had Musical.ly and then you updated it, made it TikTok, and you just knew it as dances, you're an innovator, early adopter type of thing, right? So then you have 34% of people are late majority. So that's when everyone starts, you don't have this? You don't have this? And then, okay, maybe I will get it, right?
Gotcha.
And then you have the laggard, 16%. So that's a person who just buys their first Bluetooth headphones for the first time this year. Laggard, right? And it never really has anything to do with age. It has to do with someone's, mental desire to, embrace technology. So that's it. So we have innovator, early adopter, early majority, late majority, laggards. And so when I'm in some of my tech meetings, sometimes what we talk about is where we're at with the technology is we'll talk about our audience, our marketplace, and we'll say right now our audience is only innovators and early adopters. Because like when I was working with Pray.com originally in 2016, that's all we would talk about is they would ask me, Adam, do you know anyone else that is an innovator, early adopter that's a pastor? Because that's who we need, who will be open to doing Pray.com. Now, Pray.com has a list of pastors who want to get on the app because they're going to be late majority laggards. So they're the FOMOs. They're doing it, I'll do it. That's the people who make those decisions. Yeah. I'm doing it because everyone else is doing it. Yeah. Not I'm doing it because I saw value in it and I want to do it. It's the fact that everyone keeps talking about it, so therefore I feel left out. So now I'll do it. Where do you guys think you are?
Ooh-wee.
I think I'm between early adopter and early majority. Because I had Musical.ly before it became TikTok. Ooh. So I was doing, those little videos when you go up and, so I had that. So I'm always intrigued once. I'm not the innovator for sure. But once I see you talking about it, and if it's within my budget and I can buy it, then, just counting that. But so I think I'm in between those two, early adopter and then early majority. Because I want to see what it's about. I don't want to be too late to the game where I'm wait, what is happening?
So you don't mind if someone's like, this just came out. You're going to be like, oh, that excites me. I might want to check it out.
Yeah.
If it's
interesting to me enough, then I'll be like, oh, wait. So I feel like that's mostly me.
All right, Colin.
I feel like it takes me some time to get on board, so I might be a little closer to Nancy in that gauge as far as I got to see, because I think more practical, so I'm like, okay, can I, am I going to be able to use this for, my good or the good of my home or, what I got going on work-wise, and is it going to fit in with what I got going on anyway? So I'd like to fill it out and test it out myself and then kind of decide versus, okay, it just came out, I'm going to shoot and just jump on it and figure out later on if it's practical or not. But,
so you say probably early majority? Yeah. So we have innovator, early adopter, early majority, late majority, laggards. Aaron?
Probably a late.
Late majority?
Because probably late majority.
Yeah.
If it's music, I want to know what's going on with music, like when it comes to music or but No, probably other than music. No.
You're not jumping on it.
I get it when I get it.
Like, because like if an album is about to come out, or if there's like I knew who Kendrick Lamar was before anyone knew who Kendrick Lamar was. Mm-hmm. Well,
Okay.
Right,
quote
right.
unquote.
As
When
a
he
pop
had
culture, yeah.
mixtapes, and then nobody knew like, oh, this guy's from Compton. So like I followed that like to a T. But like technology, no.
yeah.
No. It's like now I'm using ChatGPT every day.
Yeah.
But like it went from like, what is that? To like, no, I ain't using that to let me try it. Oh, so that's late. That's late.
Yeah. Well, yeah, ChatGPT would probably be early majority right now still, but but yeah, in an over probably grand scale probably late majority maybe. Because you got
in between early and late.
Yeah, you have like because you have Peloton and I wouldn't say you got that super
plus
late. You just got that treadmill today. Yeah, you're getting it today.
2:00.
So I'd say that's still kind of that plays between early, late, but early majority in some ways. Like you're not afraid to lean into it, but you're definitely you don't like it on the front end. I know that. Like when you wanted the Peloton, you've wanted the treadmill now for like 2 years. It took you like 2 years to be like, and I mean it's expensive, but you were like, am I really going to want it? Am I really going to use it? And that's normally what a late majority person does. It's not that they don't think that it's cool. It's that they always rationalize, will I use it? Will I want to use it? The laggard is just someone who just lived in outer space and was like, I don't need this. I don't want that. I have no desire. And then finally they just don't want to be the last person, last of Mohican. So they finally do it. Yeah. But like for kind of early to late person, it's a person who goes, yeah, it looks cool, but then they rationalize. Looks expensive. I don't think I'll use it every day. Is it really all that great? How's that different from a regular treadmill? You know, you do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, me and my wife see it released same day, and we're like, we got to get this. We got the treadmill 3 years ago when it came out on the day release, you know?
Oh, nice. So Ashley's the same way.
I would say she's like that being married to me now. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because you kind of share your spouse's personality in some areas. So she definitely thinks that I'm strange. You know, so when I had this, she's been around the house when I've been using this for the past 5 days. She thinks it's very strange, but she also thinks like, oh, that there's Adam being Adam.
It's nothing new. Like, okay, that's cool.
But if it's something she's interested in, she has no problem. I would say because my personality is shaped that way and been together for so many years, that she has no problem going like, oh, let's be the first to do this. You know?
She knows it's not just like a one-time thing. It's like this is part of who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, and you would be what, innovator? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Innovator. Jermaine would be innovator. What is it? Early adopter. Jermaine. He walked out.
Did he walk out? Early adopter after innovator.
He'd be early adopter / innovator.
And then what would
Gabe would be a laggard. Gabe,
I'm curious.
When it comes to social media, I'm a no-show actually.
No show.
No show.
Gabe, I keep deleting social media off my phone, and I shoot, I have a podcast, and then I add it back.
Man.
I don't. What would you be overall, Gabe? You think?
I think it'd be
early majority?
Late majority, yeah.
Okay.
More like
Early
Colin and Pastor Aaron, where I'm definitely thinking like, is this practical for me right now? Like I saw the Vision Pros and I was like, oh, those are dope. Like I would love those, but I'm gonna wait till they're smaller. I'm gonna wait till they're cheaper. I'm gonna wait till they're, it just seems like it's refined a little better.
For sure, and it will be. I wasn't gonna get them, but when I saw enough reviews go out from people that I respect in the industry that were like, this is life-changing. This is going to change the world. I thought, those people trash on a lot of stuff, and they're not quick to praise Apple. So that made me go like, okay, maybe this one I might. Because I've done all the other ones, and I've always thought, I literally would try them for a couple hours, and I go, this ain't going to change the world. Like, this is not, this is a game. This is for kids. This is a video game thing. That's what that is. It's like that kind of thing. This is like, no kid would care to use this. This is something an adult to young adult. Yeah, this is. They're totally different audiences. So when people try to compare the two, well, this is $500 and this is this is literally a replacement to all the technology that you have in your life. Whereas those other things are games. Yeah. They're for teenagers. Yeah. You know.
So somebody that has a Tesla, would you say that they're
Tesla right now?
Yeah, you have a Tesla.
They buy one today. When did they buy it?
If they bought it, so like when me and Erica got ours, we got ours. We've had ours for a year now.
You'd be early majority still.
So I think that's where me and Erica are at, because people look at me like, why do you have a Tesla? You go to, did you see that movie? And I'm like, bro, like no, like
probably early majority. I mean, there's a few million out, so it feels like we see them everywhere. But because we live in California,
yeah, I feel like they're heavy.
Yeah, California's heavy on electric vehicles, and they have the most. We have the most superchargers. Tesla was from here, so we feel like we see them. But I reckon if you and all of us went to Nebraska and Montana and even Texas, and you'd start almost seeing them nowhere, so because I think there's, I don't know, like someone could correct me, but maybe 2 to 4 million Teslas in circulation, but there's probably 100 through 200 million cars out there in America, so it's definitely a fraction, but it's the I think fifth largest car company right now in terms of moving. The rest of the 4 are in China, largest car company. So in terms of pushing out stuff, if I've heard it right, but someone who has a Tesla would definitely still be early majority. Someone who had it pre 2017, 16, they would be innovator, early adopter. I had an electric car in 2013. I had the BMW i3. BMW, yeah.
Oh, what?
So I had an EV 11 years ago.
And was it on that same vibe? Like, okay, this just came out. I want to see what it's like.
Yes.
And,
It was about 2 years old, but people weren't buying them and stuff. So I got like a good deal on it. And I remember I got 64 miles to a charge.
So
like
nothing. Man.
I'd have to charge it literally every half day. Superchargers didn't exist back then neither. So this would be before, this was before people had Teslas, really, when I had the i3. So Ashley ended up taking it from me, and then she got annoyed because she couldn't really go anywhere, and she'd have to take my car. But I loved that car. I loved it. I loved how it drove. I loved the inside. It's that little BMW i3 thing. I got a really good deal on it because people, once they sold expensive, but used, it was like they were giving them away back then. Because no one had it weren't very practical. I think actually they sell more used now with so many chargers than I got it for in 2013. Wow. So but I love that thing. But I bought it like before I even truly evaluated how often will I need to charge this thing. I just thought, I think this is awesome. I need a new car. Love to try it out.
64, like 64 miles.
Yeah, on paper it said 150, but once you turn the AC on, and
you can't take it all the way down to 0.
And once you turn the air back then with those, Tesla's a little better now because it has like a bunch of it's got a bunch of computer chips in it and stuff. But when we had that one, it was like the moment you turned the air conditioner on, you just saw that battery going, it was visibly moving pretty much, So we'd be rolling the windows
down. So you're an innovator, right? No music, no AC, no nothing.
No, you really couldn't.
Right, we don't talk to him.
Well, good thing you don't have that one anymore. So you being an innovator, did that come from seeing your dad be like, always trying to build, create, or where did you? I mean, obviously we can say you were made that way, but where did that come from? Somewhere specific?
I mean, somewhere in there, I had to been. None of my brothers are that way, but I had to been. Something had to be on me at some point. But I've been like this since I was a kid. So when the PSP came out, I got one of the first ones. GameCube came out, one of the first ones. So I don't know. I think maybe one of the things was my mom encouraged that. My mom grew up in adjunct poverty, so she lived at a park when she was 16, and she had to sleep with men just so that she could have somewhere to sleep at night and stuff like that. And so growing up, even though my parents were hurting financially, my mom would try to do everything with the finances to get us what we were hoping for. And that was more normally Christmases. And so I guess probably at a young age, like I remember my mom would like fight to get us a GameCube or an Xbox. Like she would stay up all night at Toys R Us. She would do whatever. And they would tell us like, and we would see on the news, they're all sold out, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you remember those days calling it's like a GameCube, an Xbox, like those things were gone and like people capping out. And so my mom would do that stuff. And she had like crazy favor. One day, the GameCube was impossible to get a hold of. And she told us this later on. Well, she's in the checkout counter. Someone recognizes her as Pastor Diego's wife. And she goes, she says, someone won a raffle for one of the GameCubes. And they were supposed to show up 30 minutes ago, and they didn't. Do you want it? And she's like, yeah.
What?
And so this thing had been sold out for weeks at that point. And so we open up on Christmas and we see one, we lose it. We're all like going crazy. And we're like, how'd you get this, Mom? She's like, crazy. I'm checking out. An employee at Toys R Us recognizes me from the church.
Wow.
Told me, do I want it? Because the person who was who won the raffle, and that was back then where the only way you'd win if you won a raffle, they're calling your house phone, not calling a cell phone. So they're like, they haven't heard the landline yet, like, so they're like, Hannah picked it up yet? Do you want it for your boys? And my mom was like, so my mom had these weird moments of favor where she got us stuff. So that stuff became, specifically in technology, a really, really big deal with us because my mom would save. I mean, we'd have to get Payless shoes and all these things like that. But when it came to Christmas, my mom would try to like get us our Christmas list. She would like, we wouldn't have Jordans, we have any of that stuff. But when it came to a game console or something like that, or whatever was like technologically new, she would bust her butt to try to do it. So that just took me in then to my 18, 19, 20-year-old like, self. And then I got into filmmaking and editing at 16. So that stuff. And then I feel like if you were filmmaking in like 2005, 2006, that's where not a lot of people would know. But nowadays we film like this and, we just save it, goes in our phone. Or even if you film with cameras like we do at church, they're all held on memory cards. Yeah. But when I first got into film, it was on cassette tapes. And then you'd film on cassette tapes, and then you'd have to, what was called, record the scratch on your computer. So we would have these Apple computers, like very old Apple computers. They weren't old then, but they're just like they're old now. But one of the early Apple computers. You would take your camera, you would plug it into the computer, and you would reverse the camcorder, the disc, the cassette, and then you'd hit play on the camera, and then it would record it on the computer screen. So if you did 3 hours of filming, you sat there for 3 hours, and it was called capturing your scratch disc. So you would sit there for 3 hours and just watch your screen as it captured it. So back then I'm editing for the church, I'm editing for other people, and whatever you film, so that's why you were very cautious on how often you hit record and all these things like that, because once you run out of whatever it was, an hour or 2 hours of cassette tape, you needed a new one. Yeah. So I literally was in that world when the first DSLR was invented, where you could capture on a memory card. So I was like in the convergence of that. And that was that's a big deal for all of us. It's a big deal for our phones. It's a big deal. And I was in the middle of that. So I remember buying my first DSLR where I didn't have to capture that scratch disc anymore. And I could just put it in a memory card. And so then what I had to do was I had to go buy a hard drive to store those videos in. And I remember because I was working at the church at the time in 2008, helping cut video. Yeah. And I remember I was one of the first to adopt a DSLR, which was where you capture on a memory card. And I remember me and Corey got in a huge fight because Corey liked doing it the old way. Corey's still on staff today. Yeah. Me and him got on, and he could tell you if he was in here, we got in this massive fight because he didn't like that I was taking the lazy way out. That's how he viewed it. Like I'm still doing it legitimate. I capture on the cassette versions. You're doing a memory card and it's very lazy. You could just record as much as you want and go in your computer and edit it. But back then we didn't have these hard drives that you could store all this stuff in. So I remember we had to go and buy a hard drive from Best Buy that was 1 terabyte, and it cost $2,500.
Sheesh.
Now, mind you,
1 terabyte?
1 terabyte. Today, you could buy a 1 terabyte hard drive for $50. In 2008, it cost me $2,500. So you talking about how much this is? A hard drive cost that for me in the industry. So this is more right now. This is more of like an industry device. It's an industry price for professionals. So now today, when everyone records, everyone's got some type of DSLR or something like that. You can get 1 terabyte for $50.
Yeah.
And if you need a really, really good memory card of 1 terabyte, you can get it for $90. I had to buy it for $2,500. That's how much it cost back then. And so when you see where technology has gone, and then for me, when you asked where it came from, I was kind of in that convergence where I got the first moment, and I was in film. And so that immediately made my life easier with what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I realized, technology is going to make our life easier. It's 100% going to make our life easier.
As I'm listening to your story with Corey, here's where I had wrestled. So like in my sermon prep, I try to take all my prep and I feel like I can make like simple language or do an acrostic. Here's 3 C's. Here's 3, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now that I see that AI can do it, I'm like, man, this is whack because, preachers are lazy.
Yeah.
But then when you think about, well, why am I doing that? I want the audience to be able to remember it. So the acrostic is not, there's not power in the acrostic, there's power in the word of God. So it's like, if I really get down to the brass tacks of why was I trying to make it simple? Well, if I could take some time back and let AI do some of those things, that's not sinful.
Yes.
But at first when I'm seeing this, I'm like, and I'm looking at these descriptions like improve across the world, like this. And I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody ain't good at words like this. You know. But it's like, what's the intent and how can we utilize this technology for good?
For sure.
It's neutral. It's neutral. So it can be used for bad, but it could also be a complement to be used for good.
And I think there is a point where dishonesty is there, but that could be in anything. You know, the amount of times I've seen or heard preachers that steal other preachers' illustrations or points or whatever, and some people care, some people don't care. You have places like Life Church where every single week Craig Rochelle releases his sermon notes. So any pastor who's bivocational and can't afford to spend as much time studying because he works another job and he's just trying to care for a community, that is the average pastor in America is pretty much bivocational. Full-time ministry is $1 and a dream for most pastors. So Craig Rochelle openly shares his sermon notes and sermon series and graphics and all that, not for people to have dishonesty, for people to be able to say, I want to help pastor my community, but I don't have the time. I'm working a contractor's job or the construction job or this job, and I'm pastoring a church of 40 people, 50 people. I can't get a full salary just to study the Bible all day. Pastor Craig helps with those things. So I think as technology can help summarize those things, at the end of this month in February, I'm hosting a Zoom for pastors with my friend Dave Gibbons and one other guy where we're going to talk about how can you honestly use AI to sermon prep. And we're going to kind of share some philosophies around how you could do it. But I think in your case, to that point, what I'm using it right now for is normally what I'd like to do is, as I'm building alliterations, which are the 3 Gs or the sentence structures that sound the same or whatever, what I'll do is normally where I'm trying to think of a word, let's just say I'm trying to process through the C letters, and I'm doing this because I want to help people's memory, for the week. And what's coming to my head is the word discipline, but I'm saying I really want a C word that's going to help me with that.
Oh, for sure.
So I'll go into AI and I'll say, hey, here's my sermon, here's what I'm preaching about. I'll copy and text some of the points that I'm already using, and I'll say I really would like 4 options that you can give me that's a replacement for a discipline with D that has the same emphasis, but using the letter C. And then it'll just give me options right there. What normally would probably take me 45 minutes of using a thesaurus, which I do. I mean, I use a thesaurus. 100%. I use all these. It has helped replace that, which now I can spend more time just really studying the text or doing whatever else that I want to do. It doesn't make anything truly shorter for me. It just allows me to spend more time on the stuff that does matter while I'm studying, which thinking about how to word these points is not really best served time for an hour or 2 hours. So that helps me out. And then the last thing that I do is when I'm done, I'll put what I know my boy Will does, who's on the Beyond the Letter all the time. He puts his sermons into AI and says, is there something that I've shared that is unclear that I should expound on? And then it'll spit it back and say, yeah, when you're talking about this doesn't seem very clear. What I suggest is you add some elements like this. He'll look, and then he'll go back to studying and see if that's a valid thing he should add. What I'll do is I'll say, I'll put my sermon in at the end, and some people may notice some of these things now, is I'll put my sermon in when I'm done, and I'll say, give me 10 homework assignments that someone can have according to the message that I just preached. And I'll read the homework, and then I'll actually infuse those in my message, and I'll say, hey, when you go home or when you go back or when you do this, you could, and what I'm trying to do is bring a deeper way of application that AI just helped me kind of process through. And so I'm still doing all the studying, I'm still building it, I'm still looking for this or that, or studying on what the meaning of this is, because it won't even do that kind of stuff. If it tells you, tell me, what age King David, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it says, oh, my knowledge is limited. I don't know that much, that type of thing in that area. So I don't even use it for that. Or give me 4 points for a sermon on repentance. Like, that's a dishonest way of using it. You just, hey, give me a verse and 4 points on repentance, and you read it, you look at it, you go, okay, I'm going to go preach that. That's
not.
It's more so for refining, not creating.
It's like proofreading.
I mean, you could use it for creating, but I think at that point, that's now where you're,
so
rolling on territory where you're not really doing work anymore.
I was preaching a text, but I was preaching it to 7th graders. So I put my sermon into ChatGPT, and I said, okay, help me give more clarity if I'm giving this to a room of teenagers.
Okay. Cater it to your audience.
All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. I'd love to hear if you're using any of this stuff, ChatGPT, AI, or anything. I'd love to know what you use, how you use it for, and any other thoughts you have on this. So appreciate everybody joining us. Have a blessed day.
Peace.
Peace.
Out of here.